All right, we are going to get started in just a minute here. I'll start promptly at noon and looking forward to sharing some great information with you today. All right, looks like it is 12 o'clock on the dot, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining me this afternoon. We're doing a webinar on making a case for mobile, and we'll be highlighting a few different bits of information in regards to mobile marketing, taking specifically a look at some stats as to how it's changing the business environment and marketing in general, as well as some reasons why you should look at incorporating it into your current marketing and some ideas of other companies that are currently using it and that are a little bit more outside the norm of what we would expect. So with that, if you are not familiar with the webinars on your platform and have never been on one before, on the right-hand side of your screen, you should see a chat box where you can enter in any questions that you might have along the way. What I will do is I will kind of monitor that and see what questions you have as we go along. And if they apply to the entire group, I'll go ahead and address those questions. If not, excuse me, I'll wait and answer those at the very end during our Q&A piece of it. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. My name is Carrie Switala. Marketing, automated marketing campaigns, and LinkedIn strategies. So as we go along today, like I said, if you do have questions, let me know. Otherwise, you can refer back to my contact information if after today you have something else that pops up that you'd like some clarification on. That being said, don't worry about feverishly taking notes. I'm actually going to send you the slide deck once we're done so that you can go back and refer to this presentation after we're done here today. So for those of you, just a quick overview on Constant Contact, if you're not familiar with it. I am an authorized local expert with Constant Contact. So what that means to you is I have the opportunity to present to businesses like yourselves, both in Minnesota as well as nationwide. So talking to them about how they can incorporate email marketing into their marketing strategies. And for me, Constant Contact, I've used a lot of the other tools out there. It is pretty much my favorite tool, and I use it both for all of my clients as well as for myself, and have been using it for 8+ years. So if you do have questions on Constant Contact in particular, I definitely should be able to answer them for you. But just a quick overview, it is more than email marketing. The newsletters and announcements, they've got that feature, but they've also got offers and promotions called Save Local. They've got feedback and surveys, so you can reach out to your customers and see how their first experience was with you. And last but not least, events and registrations. So if you're doing any sort of events, this will help manage that process from start to finish. So that being said, more to come on that. If you have questions later, I'd be happy to answer those for you. So let's jump in. So on our agenda today is to talk about some of the stats and the things and the reasons behind why you really can't afford to ignore mobile marketing. We've got a lot of research that we've pulled together from a variety of sources that we'll share with you. In addition, talking about your business in mobile, what kind of impact might it have on you, and how can you incorporate mobile marketing into your current strategy? A lot of times businesses think that we need to do it all at once, and there's definitely lots of different ways that you can start to kind of move into mobile marketing. So we'll highlight some of those, as well as some great case studies too. And then at the very end, a quick review and question and answer session. So why you can't ignore mobile marketing. I'm sure that you all are very similar in the fact that you probably check your mobile device or your smartphone many times a day. On average, we're seeing that number. I recently saw a statistic that said 150 times a day. And as you can see by the slide, that's actually gone up to 200 times a day that people are looking at their smartphones, and they're using it for a variety of reasons. Myself, personally, I have a 10-year-old and an 11-year-old boy, and oftentimes when our family is driving up to our cabin, besides the driver and the two dogs are also in the car, my son is usually using it, my oldest is listening to music, my youngest is playing a game, and I'm typically looking up answers to questions so that I can prove to my husband that I'm right as we encounter different things on our drive to our cabin. So I'm sure you're having a similar experience where we're on our phones a lot and we're using them a lot as well. Some interesting statistics here. 40% of Americans under 35 used a mobile device to make a donation. This is huge for nonprofits. You think back to like the Red Cross, if you're watching a TV show, there's any sort of disaster that happens, they make it really, really simple for you to just text a number and donate $10. So we're seeing a huge rise in this movement. As well as 50% are using a mobile device to browse nonprofit websites and emails. So they're hearing about a cause, they're checking it out. I work with a lot of nonprofits, and they've definitely seen an uptake in their both their mobile donations as well as people looking at their information on a mobile-friendly website via their smartphones. Local search is also something that has really changed a lot lately. 75% are using their phone to get real-time location-based information. So we see something, we see an ad, we see this or that, we've got our phones and we're checking it out right away. Local search is really important, especially to business to consumer businesses or retail businesses where you need to be found and people are out there and will go ahead and do that search and look for your specific company. 90% of mobile searches lead to an action. Probably not too surprising, but because we have so much information coming at us all the time, if we're looking up something on our phone and we can easily take action, we will, because we know that the chances are, if we don't do it right then, we're going to forget about it. So that number seems pretty obvious, as well as the 70% who ran a local search by mobile acted within an hour. So think about it. If you're in the car and you're deciding where to go for dinner, or maybe you're traveling and you're in another area and you're wondering where the local gym or yoga studio or coffee shop is, you're going to go on your phone and you're going to search. And then likely you're going to take action because there's a reason that you're looking for it. You're looking for that product or service right now. So some interesting statistics as far as what's happening with the local search avenue. In addition, the number one reason still that most people are using their smart devices for, and the number one reason for mobile marketing, is email. Over 50% of email is opened on a mobile device. This is huge. We looked at some statistics, and 2 years ago, this number was at 10%. So we're finding more and more people are, that you can travel on vacation and have, your phone with you without having to have your laptop and all of your other devices, and you can still feel connected. Whether that's good or bad, we've got the technology there. So why is this important? Because 80% of users delete mobile email that doesn't look good. So when you're opening your device, you've probably seen these before. I'm actually quite surprised at the number of larger companies that still haven't moved to the mobile-friendly templates when it comes to their email. So you're always having to pinch to expand or to contract the email so that you can see the side, or scroll all the way to the right or scroll all the way to the left in order to see the entire email. Because we are in a fast-paced, fast-moving environment, and especially those that are millennials, they don't have time. They're moving on. If it's not super simple and easy, they're on to the next thing. So it's important to make sure that if you are using mobile marketing, and because of the number of people that are looking and checking their emails on their phones, that your emails look good and that they're mobile friendly. So what happens then for those that are getting an email that doesn't look good? 30% of them are unsubscribing. And I don't know about you, but I worked really hard to build my email list. I don't want anyone unsubscribing simply because of the design or the layout. If the content is great, You know, they might still keep it, but for the most part, if it's a challenge for them to work with, they're going to delete it and they're going to unsubscribe. So this is why it's really, really important to consider when taking a look at your emails and making sure that they look good on mobile devices. So we've talked about some of the statistics, which are pretty powerful. Let's take a look at some business applications and how other businesses are using it. So Constant Contact did a survey recently of their customers, and they looked at, they surveyed them to find out how many are using mobile marketing or have adopted that into their marketing strategy. And what they found was that 66% of their customers, basically small to medium-sized businesses, were using mobile for their business, but 34% weren't. So they're kind of intrigued and wondering, well, I wonder why this 34% is choosing not to use more mobile marketing. When you look at all of the stats, there had been a good reason. So what they found is they surveyed them and said, all right, tell us why. And here are the top 3 reasons why this 34% are not using mobile marketing. Simply 65% said they had no plans to adopt mobile in the future. They didn't, I guess they really didn't see the value in it. 56% said due to a lack of customer demand. And 28% said, you know, mobile isn't really relevant to my industry or my business. You might have, you know, when you look at these 3 reasons, you can kind of see where number 3 makes sense. If people don't know how, I mean, there might not be some obvious connections as to why they should use it. And when Constant Contact looked at this, they said, now we're kind of intrigued. Let's take a look at some of those businesses that are less obvious. They're not business to consumer driven. Let's take a look at how they're using mobile marketing. And that's what they did. And we've got some great case studies for you here. So Hope Hummus. Hope is a food manufacturer, and they sell mostly through distributors, being grocery stores and supermarkets. They have a mobile website, and what it does is it focuses on not only their social media channels, so helping to kind of build their brand, but it also allows them, because they don't sell directly to the consumer, they've given them an option to find Hope, where they can see where other retailers are selling Hope Hummus. What's really cool about that is that they're also ensuring that they stay in business, right? They are helping the ultimate customer be able to find their customer, being the grocery stores and the supermarkets. So that's how they've incorporated mobile marketing. The next one is Wheels Manufacturing. They are a small manufacturer of bicycle parts, and they also sell through distributors. And what they do is they use mobile email marketing to send messages to their distributors, letting them know about special offers, new products coming, even tips on how they can best utilize their parts to help the ultimate distributor grow their business. So they're giving them lots of valuable information, and they've made sure that, as you can see here, their email looks really good. It's branded and short, sweet, and to the point. This one is a little bit odd. So it's Funeral Innovations, and it's a small startup in the funeral services industry. So they provide innovative technical solutions to their partners. One of the things that they've created is actually a QR code, and that QR code goes on, you know, it could go in an obituary. It can go on, you know, Facebook if someone's announcing the fact that, you know, a loved one has passed away. And when people scan in that QR code, what it does is it takes them to a website where they can find out when the services are going to be held. They can also share information, post pictures of the loved one that has passed, or send messages to the family. So it's a little bit off the wall, but definitely another type or another strategy. The last is Liberty Tax Services. And what they did is they're a provider of tax preparation services. And in this email, what we really liked about it is that they included a clear call to action, place where it can easily be accessed by someone viewing the email, whether it's on a phone or on their laptop. So here are some companies that you wouldn't necessarily expect to be engaging and to have adopted these mobile marketing strategies, but they saw the value in it, and it's working for them as well. So within your company, you might have some as we would call them, naysayers. Maybe some people within your organization that, and it might even be you, that are thinking, really, do I have to take a look at this at my business? I don't really see the value. And we uncover basically four reasons why people are not considering email marketing, or not email marketing, excuse me, mobile marketing. Number one, nonprofits. They're looking at it and going, well, we don't sell products, so why should we be using it? Well, as we saw in those first couple of slides, the number of people that are donating from their phone, mobile donations are increasing at a rapid pace. So that's a huge reason for a nonprofit to be to have engaged with their mobile marketing. Secondly, if they're doing any sort of events, a lot of times they have fundraisers and activities that they've got going on. They can be using mobile marketing to have people check in at their events, to be able to share that information on social media. It's a great way to get that organic reach. The second would be, hey, we're regulated by the government. Now, don't get me wrong, we don't think it's really a good use of your time or money to use mobile to exchange sensitive information. But what you can do is by sending out emails that don't have the sensitive information, you can remain in touch with your clients or constituents and help stay top of mind, which is very, very powerful. Secondly, interestingly enough, what we've found is that the US government, including the Pentagon, has started building out security and management solutions for mobile technology. So they're basically seeing the power of making it easier for their government contractors to reach procurement officers on any available platform, whether it's an iOS or Android. So it's pretty interesting to see how even they are engaging and seeing what the power of mobile marketing can do for their business. Then you have others who are thinking, well, you know what? This really isn't a good fit for my products. So maybe you don't sell your products via mobile, but you can consider mobile as a channel for communicating to your customers about your products and services, getting them excited about new launches and things that are coming out. It's a great way to kind of educate them and provide them with information. There's also ways to collect information, like email addresses, from the people you meet. Think about events or conferences or other can be a relevant piece. However, I will state that when you look at the email marketing side of things, depending on if you're using a tool outside of Constant Contact, I do know that Constant Contact has free email mobile-friendly templates that you can use. So simply, it's a matter of changing your information over to the mobile-friendly template, and that's free of charge for you as part of being a Constant Contact account holder. When it comes to your website, based on how intense it is, may be a little bit more expensive than others. But it's really, really, really important. And I don't know if you're familiar with what's changed with Google, but back in April, they put in a new algorithm for a new search algorithm that they implemented. And basically what they're doing now is they want to make sure that that user experience is awesome. So if someone's coming to Google and they're doing a search, they want those companies that are appearing top on that search to have a mobile-friendly website so that that user continues to use Google to do their searching. So because of that, they're actually punishing those that don't have a mobile-friendly template by decreasing where they show up in the ranks. And there's a whole ton of information out there. If you Google it, you'll find an immense amount of information. You can even check to see if your website, there's some simple tools out there to check to see if your website is mobile friendly. So I definitely would encourage you, even if the cost seems a bit high, maybe you have a moderate version of your website that you put out there, just so that you do have something that's mobile friendly. So we wanted to incorporate a few other examples of some more general companies, more B2C customers that are B2C clients and how they're using mobile marketing. So the NB Fitness Club, they basically sent out a quick email stating that their hours had changed. Doesn't take a ton of time, short, sweet, to the point. Just wanted to be able to communicate a message to their customers and for it to look good on a mobile device. And then you have Alex's Lemonade Stand. What I love about this is that if you notice at the top here, they've got some great images. It's a very eye-appealing looked good on a mobile device. Here's another PTO group, and basically what they've done is short, sweet message, just updating them on an event that's happening. And last but not least, we have Boloco, which is a burrito franchise. The one thing that we're not particularly fond of in this particular the particular email is the size of the font that they've used. Definitely there's something that they could, it's a great email, it's well put together, but if they increase the size, it would make it a lot easier for people to read. But once again, none of these emails are super time intensive. They're pretty easy to put together, and it's a great way to send messages to your customers and your prospects. One of the things that these companies have learned, as the other examples that we've shared, is that you don't get to decide which device people use to access your content. They do. And once you really grasp that concept, you kind of see where, okay, yeah, mobile is definitely a place I need to go, whether I'm just starting with my email or I'm going to move it all over at the same time. So we've talked a little bit about the statistics, showing what's happening, what's trending with mobile marketing. We've shown you some examples of how you can use, how other companies are using mobile marketing and integrating it into their current marketing mix. Now we're going to show you a couple things about what you can do today. So number one, avoid using too much text. As you can see here in this example, this one has a ton of information on it. And if you think about it, when are we checking our email on our phone? We're typically checking it when we're standing in the line at Starbucks, or waiting to pick up our kids from their sporting activities or events, or sitting in the doctor's office. So typically, we probably have maybe 10 to 15 minutes or less, probably more like 5 to 10 minutes, to check our emails. We're not going to take a ton of time to read really lengthy emails. We're going to save those for when we're sitting down in front of our computer. So that being said, guess what tends to happen? If they do see a lengthy email, they're going to bypass it. They're going to save it for later. But when they get back in front of their computer, it shows as being read, or maybe they've forgotten about it. So keeping them short, sweet, to the point as much as possible, and even trying to break up the content, as you can see here. They've incorporated a box to click here for more information, and they've broken up the text and used some images to kind of make it more appealing and kind of draw the user's attention in. Number two, avoid multiple columns. When newsletters were first kind of coming out, they became almost like a website where they had multiple columns and they had all sorts of stuff going on. Well, depending on the mobile device that people are opening it from, it may not come out looking that great. So we recommend to avoid using multiple columns at all, if at all possible. If you do have a template that uses them, make sure that the column is on the left-hand side, because people will not scroll. They won't typically see it in their viewer if you have something on the right-hand column without having to scroll all the way over to get it. And as we talked about, they're most likely not going to scroll or pinch to expand or contract to see the email that you're putting out there. Here's an example of what happens depending on the viewer. This one, because it's not sure what to do or how to read it, it kind of squishes the content. And this one's even worse. It takes the content and folds it down into basically kind of one long sentence. And you've probably seen emails like this in your inbox. And what do? We tend to delete them or save it for later. Tip number three, clear and easy calls to action. It's really, really important to have calls to action in any of your marketing, not just your mobile marketing. In these examples that you'll see here, they have hyperlinked an article in here or a piece in here. But if you have, depending on your device and how you're opening it, it's going to be a challenge to try to click on that particular piece in order to get it to open. I have a friend of mine who has on all of his emails when he's checking them from his mobile device, it says, "Hey, please, excuse any typos. I have two very large fat thumbs." And so when you think about people like him, it's going to be harder for them to try to, get that information. So they're going to get frustrated and likely move on. A better solution would be to incorporate, to hyperlink more of the text so that it makes it very easy for someone to simply put their thumb on there and select that information. And the best option, that's going to be incorporating a button or a call to action that you see it very clearly, it's got great color, and your eyes are drawn to it. Avoid tiny fonts. 9-point font headlines don't stand out. As you can see here on this email, when we look at the second option, it's got 22-point headlines and 11-point body text. So it's a much better look between the two, and it's easier to read, and your eyes can kind of break up the information and go to what's important to you. Even better, when you are using the 22-point headlines and the 16-inch body text, what happens is the email looks great whether you're looking at on your phone or if you're looking at on the computer. So this would really be the ultimate, is to have a 22-point headline and a 16-point body text. Tip number 5, use images carefully. Not all devices are enabled to automatically upload an image. So some people might see things like this, like the little red arrow or the little red X. So what's good to do is when you're incorporating photos, use the alt text where you can incorporate, you can write down what it is that they're looking at so that if they can't see it, they see what it's supposed to be, fire truck or special offer. So they see that information there. Secondly, consider where you place your pictures within an email. So in this one in particular, when we see this, we might think, wow, this is all that's in the email. It's a great image, it looks really good. But what we're missing is because this is the main piece that we see, the call to action is actually at the bottom of the email. It's down here. And likely, depending on what they're looking at, they're not going to see that piece. They're only going to see the image and they're going to move on. So they're not going to take any action. Last but not least, make sure your images are scalable. If you're using a giant email or a giant picture in an email, especially on a mobile device, it's probably going to be distorted, like you see this one here, and part of it is going to be cut off, and then it might not be accurately portraying what image or what information you're trying to send to them. So consider your images. I always recommend that if you are sending out an email, that you check it, send it to yourself, and see how it looks on your phone, and maybe send it to a friend or family member to check their device, and just make sure that it looks good so that the user has a good experience. A couple bonus tips for you. Don't ignore local search, especially if you are marketing to the ultimate consumer, or you have a retail facility where people can come in and shop at your store or your restaurant, whatever it might be. Make sure that you're engaging with these local searches, that you've got your information posted, not just on one, but as many as possible, because depending on which tool they use to search for you, they may or may not find you, or you may not be as high in the rankings. So making sure to take advantage of the tools that are out there, and we've got them all, well, not all of them, but many of them listed here, some good places to start. So at least getting it out to a couple is a good idea. Don't ignore mobile technology. As you see here, 1.4 billion images are taken on mobile devices every single day. And on top of that, over 100 hours of video are uploaded per minute. It's incredible. When you look at that, there's tons of opportunities within there. You can be taking pictures if you're having an event. You can be taking pictures of your employees mingling with your clients. You can encourage your customers and your prospects to share your photos or their experiences, their photos, their images. There's just a ton of great ways to reach out to people through photos on the different mobile devices that they're using. So just for a quick review before we go into the Q&A session, I I want to cover kind of highlight some of those points that we talked about, because we did give you a lot of information. 29% of Americans use only mobile devices to access the internet. 50% of emails are opened on a mobile device, so you want to make sure that you've got them looking good so that you don't encounter this 30% of users who are unsubscribing based on the look of the newsletter or the look of the email. We've also showcased you some great examples of what other businesses are doing and how they're using it in businesses that are outside the normal scope. So really, mobile marketing is for everyone, and likely it's going to be going that more and more so in that direction as well. A couple of the last tips that we covered, less is more. Making sure that you've double checked and that your emails and any communications, your website, that you've taken a look at it and made sure that the user experience is going to be good, that it's going to look great no matter what device they're opening it on. So with that, I'm going to turn it over for any questions that you might have. Before I do so, I just want to make a little note here. Once again, your questions can be posted over on the right-hand side over here. And I'm just going to make a little note. So go ahead and post your questions that you have. If you are interested in checking out Constant Contact, they do have a killer offer going on right now where you can get 30% off for 3 months, and that's for new customers, and as well as a mobile-friendly custom template that is branded to your business. And that's free and 30% off for the first 3 months. So when I send the slide deck to you, all you need to do is simply click here, and you'll be able to get the information that you need if you want to sign up or if you want to do a free trial. So with that, do we have any questions? I'm not seeing any currently. I'll give it just another minute here. I would encourage you, once again, once I send the slide deck out to you, to take a look at it, kind of refresh. It might be also a good thing if you are working at another company or working with several individuals to share this slide deck with them and show them how email marketing might be something to be incorporated into your marketing plan. Well, with that, it looks like there are no questions. So we are all mobile marketing experts. I hope you enjoyed this webinar today. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and you'll see my contact information in the slide as well. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you.